everyone. I'm Professor Albert Nygren from Rutgers University. I'm the Executive Director and Curator of the New Jersey Film Festival, and we're back for our 41st year with a wonderful lineup of films as part of the Fall 2022 New Jersey Film Festival. We will be a hybrid festival this fall, which means that folks will be able to watch all of the movies online for 24 hours on their show date. And many of the shows will also have an in-person component where the filmmakers will be there to be part of an in-person screening. And those will take place at 7 p.m. on their show dates in Voorhees Hall, room 105, which is located on the beautiful College Avenue campus of Rutgers University at 71 Hamilton Street in New Brunswick, New Jersey. The film festival itself will be taking place between September 9th and October 16th on select Friday, Saturday, and Sundays. Today we have the added benefit of having the director of one of the great films that we'll be screening, Rebuilt from Broken Glass. Larry Hanover's here from South Jersey. He's a Jersey filmmaker and also an accomplished writer. And he did this wonderful documentary called Rebuilt from Broken Glass, which focuses on Fred Barron's life. And well, tell us a little bit about how you got involved in making this film, Larry, and welcome.
Thank you very much. Well, I first met Fred in 2010. He was speaking to my son's Hebrew school class, and parents were asked to attend, and there was just something about him that, like, what kind of Holocaust survivor is this? He had such a personality to him, in addition to just amazing stories. And I thought, why hasn't this guy written a book? And I had been a journalist for 18 years. I hadn't written anything for a while. I had the itch. So long story short, we did end up writing his memoir together, which came out in 2017. Same name, Rebuilt from Broken Glass. Yeah. And we did the book signings and whatnot, and it went really well. But after about a year or so, things started to die down. We started getting back to our pre-book lives. But the one lesson about Fred I forgot is nothing's ever ordinary with this guy. Right. That's, he's like a magnet for things to happen to him. And so in 2018, on the 80th anniversary of Kristallnacht, which is the Night of Broken Glass, which is the center of this book, when synagogues and stores were destroyed throughout Germany, right? And he was, for that anniversary, he was at a Jewish day school in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, speaking, and he mentioned the name of somebody named Heinz Baum. You see, Fred had been sent away from his family to go, because Jews were no longer allowed to go to public schools anymore. So he was sent to a family where he could attend a Jewish-run school, and he lived with this family. And after Kristallnacht, he never saw that family or his friend Heinz again. So he mentioned the name, and the head of the school disappeared for about 10 minutes. And when he came back, he was holding a cell phone. And lo and behold, who was it? It was Heinz Baum, exactly 80 years to the day since Kristallnacht, when they had last seen each other. Right. Well, I wasn't there for this, but his daughter starts texting me, and my phone's like blowing up, but it's just her texting me. He said, you have to see this video. And watch it. It's like, oh my God, now we have to do a documentary, don't we? So there you go. Well,
tell us the story about Fred. I mean, he is such a magnanimous person, despite everything that happened to him. And his story is not just, and that, I must say, our judges said this is not like any other Holocaust film we've seen. We get a lot of them. I mean, we've been in business for over 40 years, and we've shown many wonderful films. But for some reason, this documentary is so different. Is it because of Fred?
I think that's exactly what makes a difference. I mean, when we were talking about it initially, and I was asking people in the business, it's like, talk about the story, and you can only communicate so much. You can't communicate what this person is like to be around. He's like a magnet. I mean, we go to book festivals, and women would come up and say, can I pose a picture with him? Like he was some 30-year-old movie star, and he's in his 90s. He's turning 96 this year. But yeah, I mean, to give you a peek to the story that probably drew me in when I think back to 2010, is he was talking about Kristallnacht, and he was walking to school, saw one synagogue on fire, and then another synagogue on fire. And then he sees his school on fire, and then he'll turn. He's got a little twinkle in his eye. And what did you think went through my mind? And everybody's just like, well, I don't know. And he's like, best day of my life. No school today. No school for a long time. And it's like, what kind of Holocaust survivor is this?
So that's one part of the story that we'll find out about. But the fact that he also was teaching captured Germans was another real highlight of your documentary.
Yeah, these are the things that happened to him. Like I said, a magnet for history. And what happened there is he was, after his father was thrown in concentration camp for a few weeks at Kristallnacht and released on condition they flee as quickly as possible. And the only place that would take them was Cuba. So they were there a year and a half till their quota number came up and that they were able to get into the United States. And this was 1939. He was 12 years old, but he was drafted into the Army in 1946. And he found himself incredibly useful. Not that he had any use for the Army itself, but they found him useful because he spoke German and they had German prisoners. And in this case, and he was all of 19 years old at the time, too. He's not some adult, he's just a kid, too. And they had this program for teaching democracy to captured German soldiers who were kept in the United States. This was at Fort Eustis in Virginia. And he found himself, he came to the camp, and all of a sudden he was having sessions with professors from Harvard, Princeton, Yale, and they were teaching him economics, government, and that his job was to stand in front of hundreds of German POWs and teach these concepts to them, that they should go home and the war's over and that they should implement democracy this way. So incredible.
A really wonderful part. I mean, I didn't know anything about that training program at all. And I think the way that Fred makes it, here's this Jew boy standing in front of all of these Germans. He's so endearing. Well, folks, you absolutely must see this wonderful documentary. There will actually be two short films prior. One is called Saving Strays by Michelle Dragoon, and she's from New Brunswick, New Jersey, actually a Rutgers student. And her documentary is about saving stray cats in the area. And then there's a film by a filmmaker from Kyiv, from Ukraine. And this film was shot right before the full-scale invasion by the Russians. It's called Frontier, and it's by Timothy Binakov. And those two short films are paired with Rebuilt from Broken Glass, which again will be playing on Saturday, October 8th, all day online, so you can watch it online. In fact, we have people that watch the film first online, and then they come and watch it that evening live with an audience in our beautiful space at Voorhees Hall 105. And Larry's going to be there to do a Q&A. So after the screening, I think two of the filmmakers will be there taking questions from the audience. So it's a really wonderful opportunity. Again, you need further information, you go to njfilmfest.com. I want to thank you, Larry, for joining us for this interview, and look forward to seeing you at the screening on the 8th of October. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
And the thought came to me that as much as one dictator tried to eliminate the Jews of Europe, here is a child from a person that escaped the Holocaust and is using this yacht to read her Pasha with the idea that you cannot kill a religion. And so when I think about it, I say to myself, if my father was still alive today, he would probably say to me, well done. I'm proud of you. And that's the yacht.